I like to do my initial outline as quickly as possible because I just want to see how much I'm able to outline with the brainstorming that I just did. So I'm going to quickly do all 15 beats of Save the Cat, or at least try to. If there are any beats that I'm having a hard time putting down information for, then I'm going to skip it, move on to the next beat, and then maybe after that I'll be able to go back to any beats I couldn't finish. I only plan on writing about 1 to 2 sentences per beat because, like I said, I'm trying to do this as quick as I can. Also, I like to have a general overview of the entire story before I start adding all the little details. Otherwise, I might end up forcing scenes to work for ideas that I wrote down before I knew the general direction of the story. So I'm gonna get started on working on these Save the Cat beats, and once I'm done, I'm gonna give you all more details about what my story is about, and then I'm gonna move on to the next outlining method, which is gonna take a very long time in comparison. Okay, so I just finished going through all 15 beats of Save the Cat, and that took me about 12 minutes. Obviously, that means there are a lot of details that I left out, but even during that outlining session, I was able to start coming up with ideas I never even thought of, and there's a particular idea I'm actually kind of excited to explore, but it kind of happens near the end of Act 2, I believe. So that is going to remain a secret. But I will talk a little bit about my Act 1. So, what I have right now for Act 1 is we're going to start off with her being at home, and I want to open up with a scene of her mom doing something crazy. That's literally what I wrote down. I have no idea what that thing is just yet. But I know I want to show just how bad her home situation is. So I want to start off with a very impactful scene. I don't know exactly what that's going to be, but I'm hoping when I start working on my next outlining method that I will start to piece together more of these details. The theme stated is always the hardest part for me, so I don't know what that's going to be yet. And then for the setup phase, it's just going to show more of her family life and then a little bit of her school life before classes start. Because I really want to paint a picture of who this character is, how does she interact with people in different environments, and really just do my best to showcase her personality before this big catalyst starts. And that catalyst is just going to be about her finding out about the summer program. And then that's where she has her decision. Is she going to try to do the summer program? Is she going to see this as her chance to break free? I think up until this moment in the story, I'm not even going to have her wanting to leave her home life because she doesn't feel like she has any other option. At least that's how I'm feeling right now as I go through this outline for the first time. But okay, I'm gonna take a little break and then I'm gonna get started on the next outlining method, which I may or may not do tomorrow because it's getting kind of late. So I am about to start this snowflake method, and I already know it's going to take me a long time because according to the website, some of the steps will just take various amounts of time. He says steps 1 and 2 should each take 1 hour. And then later on, he says take an entire week to do other steps. Now, I don't know if I'm going to do all 7 steps, but I'm at least going to do the first 4 because that will give me a really strong understanding of what my story is and who my main character is. I think I might skip step 5 and then go to step 6, but I'll let you know what I'm doing, and I'll also share a little bit about each step as I do it. So, the reason I don't start off with this snowflake method is because step 1 is all about creating a 1-sentence summary of your entire book. And so if I haven't done any outlining, then this is really hard for me to do. For some people, brainstorming might be enough to allow you to write a 1-sentence summary, but for me, it's just not enough, which is why yesterday I spent time doing all 15 beats of Save the Cat, even though it was really quick. And now I'm doing the snowflake method on top of Save the Cat because I feel like it allows you to go a bit deeper into your story. Of course, you can still get really deep with Save the Cat, and I plan on doing that. More on that later. But I feel like the things you have to do and the questions you have to answer while doing the snowflake method, they just help you focus on different things that maybe Save the Cat doesn't touch on. Different outlining methods are going to ask you to do slightly different things. And even if it's asking you to do the same thing as another method, just seeing it phrased in a different way may help you answer those questions and brainstorm your story better. So that is what I'm about to do. When I'm done writing a page of one sentence summaries, I'm going to share with you the ones I think are the best. Hopefully, I have a couple, and then let me know which one is the most intriguing to you, because this sentence should hook you. It should make you want to pick up the book and read it. And if none of my sentence summaries do that, then I have a problem. So I'm going to get started, and I will see you all after. Okay, that hour went by way too fast, and I honestly didn't think I was gonna need it, but I definitely did. I even feel like I could use more time, but I wanna share with you some of the summaries I came up with and let me know which one is your favorite. The very first one I did was terrible, but I still wanna share it just so you know where I was starting off. A photography student enters a photography competition to escape from her family. Now, I don't think that's terrible, but there are a few things wrong with this. One, I feel like saying photography twice was just kind of a mouthful. Two, she actually does not enter a photography competition. She's in class and she's trying to get the best grade, so that's kind of not even accurate. And then escape from her family. I feel like that's maybe too on the nose because I mentioned this earlier, but there's going to be this blurred line between is she really trying to escape from her family? Or is there some other deeper reason why she's trying to be the best in her class? So I don't want to firmly say in the summary that she's trying to escape from her family. But I do kind of go on for a couple more sentences talking about photo contests and escaping from her family or her mother. And eventually I remembered that this is not about a competition, it's about being in class. So I will skip over all those other ones. So another one I wrote down was after starting school, a photography student will do anything to never return home. And I thought it was okay, but I thought it was way too vague. And like I said before, I don't know if her escaping her family is something that I want to have as part of my one sentence summary. So I didn't like this option either, but at least I didn't repeat photography twice. This next one is kind of along the same lines, but I started to realize I think I want her to have an abusive mother, not just an overall family issue. So I have a photography student fights for her chance to escape from her abusive mother. Again, like with the other one, I think this is still too vague. Like, fights for her chance, I don't really know what that means, and escape from her abusive mother is not her only goal. So I eventually got rid of any references to her mother or family as I wrote my next few summaries. One thing I think that really helped was after realizing how much I was really struggling, I took some time to write down all of the elements that I've already been including in my summaries, plus some that I hadn't included. And I kind of put a check mark or an X by the ones where I felt like I don't think these need to be included in the summary. And that really helped me have a different focus for my next two. So my last two are secrets are revealed when a photography student takes a photo after dark. I didn't love this one, but I liked the complete shift from trying to get the best grade and escaping from her mother to secrets being revealed. And my last one, which is my favorite, but let me know what you think, is a photography student stumbles upon a secret that could save her life or end it. So this last one that I have kind of ticks a lot of the boxes that I had. So we still know that she's a photography student. She's stumbling upon something, and we know that there could be something going on with her. We don't know if it's with her family or what's going on, but this secret will either save her life or end it. So I feel like it's pretty clear that she needs some kind of positive change in her life because she's going through something. And to me, I think save was a really important word here because I could have used a lot of other words like it could change her life. And I thought save really made it clear that she has something going on in her life that she needs to be saved from. And I also felt like this last one had a bit more of a mysterious tone because now I hope you're wondering, well, what's this secret? Why does she need to be saved? And why is this secret something that could also end her life? But of course, I could still keep working on it, and I'll probably have a different one sentence summary after I even write the whole book. but this is a really good starting point, and I am gonna go take a break before I do the next step in the snowflake method. For step 2 of the snowflake method, you have to write a 1-paragraph summary of your entire book. Sentence 1 is the setup, sentences 2, 3, and 4 each describe one disaster, and sentence 5 is the conclusion. Okay, so yesterday I finished the day with doing most of step 2, but after an hour I felt like I needed more time to really finish writing a full summary paragraph. So this morning I took about 30 minutes and I wrote out a summary paragraph of my entire story that I'm actually feeling pretty happy with. So I initially started this step off by writing just an entire paragraph, and then I realized I don't even know if I'm liking each sentence that I have in this paragraph. And so I realized by trying to do an entire paragraph at a time, I don't feel like I was getting to the actual core of what the story is. So I instead decided to do a couple of each sentence before putting it all together with my favorite parts. And honestly, after doing steps 1 and 2, step 3 really wasn't that bad. It was just creating a character sheet for some major and minor characters. I ended up doing 3 character sheets, and I probably could do more, but right now I have one for the villain, the main character, and a side character. And part of what you had to do when writing those character sheets was a 1-paragraph summary of that character storyline. So that just further made me have to think more about what is this character's purpose, what actions are they doing, what story threads do they have, and how do those story threads end. So this just gave me so much more brainstorming and ideas for my story as a whole, and I'm really excited to go back to Save the Cat and kind of put this all together in a beat sheet. So I think for now I'm going to stop with step 3 of the snowflake method because I have a pretty good understanding of my story as a whole and the major characters. So what I want to do in Scrivener is actually go through all 15 beats of Save the Cat and fill out more information based on what I did with the snowflake method. I am so excited to finally get into Scrivener. So I've already made note cards with all the Save the Cat beats, and I am going to start with the opening image. Unlike the first time I did the Save the Cat beat sheet that took 12 minutes, I know this is going to take a lot more time, so I am just going to get into it and I will let you all know how it goes when I'm done. For this round of doing Save the Cat, I went in and added all the initial information I wrote down the first time I did the Save the Cat beat sheet. Then I went back in and added or changed things based on the things I discovered about my story as I worked on the snowflake method. Okay, so I just finished going over all of Save the Cat and it didn't take that long. Granted, these note cards are still pretty short, but these are definitely more detailed than my original Save the Cat outline. I'm not too sure if I'm happy with how the finale is going. I like what I have for gathering the team and executing the plan, but I don't think I like the high tower surprise or the dig deep down, and I'm not too satisfied with the final image, but I mean, technically, I have an ending. One thing that the snowflake method has really helped me do is figure out an ending to my stories before I start writing. I'm okay if things change, I'm still open to that, but one thing I've always struggled with is just knowing the direction that my story is going, and by doing the snowflake method, even though it takes kind of a bit of time, it really helps me have a place to start. Before I officially start writing this story, I'm probably going to add a lot more to my Save the Cat, such as adding in more specific scenes that are going to happen. That way I have a good starting point when I get started with these chapters. But other than that, I am pretty much done with my whole outlining process, and I'm very excited to get started with this story. In that last clip, I said I was pretty much done, but I am not. I want to talk a little bit more about scenes, which is step 8 in the snowflake method. And then I want to tell you all my absolute favorite part about the entire outlining process. I get so many ideas once I start writing, so I don't like to write out scenes for every single chapter I think I'll have. But I do like writing them for the first 3 chapters just to get started. Then as I write those chapters, I can plan out future scenes for the next 2 or 3 chapters. So right now, I'm just planning out the first 3 chapters, and then I'll be done with this whole pre-writing outlining process. Okay, so my favorite part of this entire process is taking my notes and putting them to the side and kind of forgetting about them for a little bit. One thing I do, which I'm really trying to stop doing, is immediately writing as soon as I'm done outlining. Whenever I do this, as soon as I get to the middle, I feel lost, I struggle through it, I rush through it, get to the end, and absolutely hate what I've written. I know a first draft is meant to just get your ideas out, it's not meant to be perfect, and I'm fine with that, but I feel like I kind of run out of ideas after I get past the beginning of the book. Because I rush into writing as soon as I'm done outlining and I don't give myself a chance to think through more ideas. So instead of working on this story right away, I'm actually going to put aside my notes and work on draft 2 of the novella I finished last month. And while I'm working on that novella, as I come up with new ideas or think of new ideas for the current story that I was just drafting, then I'll just add to my notes. But I'm not going to be forcing myself to think of ideas right now. I just spent the last 2 weeks focused on brainstorming and outlining, and that was dedicated time just for this new project. Now I'm just gonna let these ideas marinate and add to my journal or to my notes as new ideas come while I'm focused on revising my last novella. Now that I've had a couple weeks of separation from draft 1, I'm excited to get back into it, and I'll be sharing the revising process with you all because there is a lot that needs to be fixed. As always, thanks so much for watching.